All right, so today I got J Rod on the pod, and J Rod is one of our best trainers in the office, so I wanted to get him on here. His best month since he's been with us, he's been here about 6 months. Best month is about 31,000, and then he actually came from the car industry, car sales for over the last 10 years, um, which is pretty wild. So, thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah,
So,
thanks for having me, bro.
I guess my first question is obviously if you're in the car business for that long, you're making decent money,
You know,
right? What made you want to switch industries?
the burnt out, I guess. I mean, car business, it's evolved,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, in like the wrong direction. It's more of a grind for, you're not getting the right payout correctly for it.
Oh, gotcha.
The money's no longer there.
Why do you think is it because consumers are more like the Carvanas of the world? You can just go buy online and not.
Carvana is now Amazon slowly trying to get into the game,
Oh, that's
right?
right.
They partnered
Yeah.
with Hyundai, but I think a lot of it is they're going a bunch of corporate. There's hardly ever, I mean, you hardly see it anymore. There's no mom and pop stores.
Mm,
When I got in the business, I worked for a mom and pop store. Pay plans was awesome.
mm,
Everybody was making money from sales guys to the lot tech guys, right,
right.
to management.
Right.
But when I was working for corporate on the corporate side, I saw pay plans and high level guys. I mean, they're topping out at overall 13%, right?
13% of
Commission,
overall like
overall
sales. So if you
sales.
sell a car
Yeah.
for 50,000, you get 13% of it.
13% of whatever the margin is. And
Oh, I see.
for instance,
Got it.
like Subaru's margin, there's not much margins and it's maybe $1,000.
Interesting. Okay.
And where the market is, consumers doing all their homework.
Right.
Well, I can get it,
Here.
under, invoice,
Hmm.
and they call it minis, right? So I spent 3 hours with the client and dropped my pants, gave it away,
Mm.
and
So no commission.
no commission. It's a flat rate. Some it's $50. Some
Wow.
dealers are $100.
Wow.
So
So
yeah,
like you're on average, what would you say the average commission is? Like 100 to 300 or
roughly, give or
average?
take.
Yeah.
I'll put it, I guess, in better terms. Let's say 5, 10 years ago, a good car guy that's selling 20 cars a month probably make 15, 20 grand a month.
Got it.
So good
Got it.
money.
Okay.
Now, if you're slinging 20 cars, you're making 5 to 8 grand if you're lucky.
Really?
So
Wow.
it's more of a grind.
And you were in car sales, but then the position you had before this, you actually worked for a company within the industry. You weren't actually selling cars, correct?
Yeah,
You're kind of B2B,
yeah.
more or less.
So I started in the car business, detailing cars part time in college,
Yep.
and then got recruited from the owner of the
Hmm.
store to come sell cars, and then slowly progressed into management roles, and was in that side right from sales to finance for like 6, 7 years,
Mm.
and then I went the corporate side.
Hmm.
So I worked for this company called Safeguard,
Hmm.
which we're the biggest underwriting company for all the OEMs. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
all the warranties
Yeah.
that everybody buys, those
You
were our products, but we just white labeled it.
got it. So you went to the dealerships to sign them up for your product.
Yep.
Basically, it's just showed them the ins and outs. Like, hey, this is our portal. This is how you submit it. This is the bullet point.
Yeah, we did training. My side, I had a much of a bigger role.
Mhm.
So, because we partnered with the OEM, so the company I was with, we partnered with Honda. So
Mm.
I was a Honda employee.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
it was like
Yeah.
I was door knocking, but it was kind of warm because Honda would
Yes.
be like, "Oh no, he's a Honda
He's
rep."
a Honda rep. Yeah.
But I'd come in, "Hey, this is the training. This is what we're gonna do," and then I would get with the general managers or the owners and go into like their financial statements and just like break everything down and
Hmm.
going like, "Hey, your margins, you guys are losing in this department X
Mhm.
amount. This is how we can kind of
Add this to
add this
increase
to do this."
margin.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hey, real quick, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, you've already gotten some value from this. Our company, Freedom Life Co., is hiring like crazy right now. We have way too many warm leads from clients that just want some insurance. So, we're currently hiring for our in office positions in Denver and virtually all across the nation to sell insurance over the phone. Now, for reference, our average agents take home just a little over $11,000 a month in take home commissions. That's our average agents. Then our top reps, example, Wesley, he's 20 years old, no sales experience. He brings home 50 to 60 grand a month. And then our top managers like Chris, he came from phone sales. He makes six figures a month. So if you feel like you'd be a good fit, reach out to us. You can reach out to me directly or click the link somewhere in the description. My Instagram, you could just shoot me a DM, is Ty Jeffrey Cook. And real quick before we get back to the content, this is not for everyone. Definitely don't reach out if you have an ego. Definitely don't reach out if you're not coachable. And certainly do not reach out if you're not willing to grind, especially during the first 90 days. 10, 12, 14 hours a day is going to be required to get through that learning curve. We'll see you on the other side. So that industry, that side of the industry was probably, I'd imagine, doing good too. Because if you're saying that the car sales side was getting worse and worse, these dealerships are finding every little add-on upsell to
absolutely.
increase their margins.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And then I remember when we first started talking about eight months ago, give or take 9 months ago, you were like traveling all over the country.
So my title was I was a regional development director for the western part of the United States.
Oh, wow.
So I oversaw 1,200 different dealerships.
Dang.
From January to August, when I came and talked to you and saw you, I flew over like 120 times. So I was never home.
Never home.
Yeah.
And that started to, like, at first, I'm sure that was kind of fun.
It was fine. And then, of course, Madison was like, okay, dude, you're never home. We worked opposite schedules. She worked night shifts, right?
Right.
So it was kind of weighing, like, not on a relationship, just on both of us. It's like, dude, we'd never see each other.
Yeah.
Right. And then towards the end, they chopped my comp in half. Like, but hey, now we need you to fly out Sunday night and come back Friday night or Saturdays. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
So hey, we're going to pay you less. That's crazy.
Pay me less.
These corporate companies will do this. But hey, we're going to pay you less, and actually we're going to extend your hours. So, good luck.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Budget, where we're like, me and my team were 120% over budget.
Already.
Every quarter, quarterly, and they're like, yeah, well, it's not enough.
Over like you guys were overperforming.
Yeah, we're way overperforming.
I thought you meant it's costing more. No, so you guys were so you were doing all the right things.
Yeah, but it wasn't, for me, it was never enough for the top guy.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is very common, like all these, little interviews or whatever you call them that I've done with the guys. There's always some common denominator of like, I was doing my job, everything they asked of me, the expectations, like I was just like you're a top producer here, like I'm sure you're a top producer there. Yeah. You're doing all those things, and they can basically just pull the rug from under you.
Yeah.
Say, actually.
The shady part is my quote unquote, I thought he was my mentor. Was like, oh yeah, well, if you don't get this figured out, you're easily replaceable. I'm like,
he told you that?
Yeah, just off the bat. And that's when I was like, all right. And that's when I called you.
Done. Yeah.
And I remember I was in the boonies of Fresno, California, literally like pulled on the side of the road.
I sold solar there. That's horrible.
Yeah, when I called you, I was like, hey man. And that's when I kind of chatted up, and then I came back, then I ghosted you. And then it took me a while. And then I eventually ended up coming back.
Yeah, so, and we've talked about it a little bit, but basically, obviously, even though they made all those changes, you were still like making a comfortable 6-figure income, right?
Yeah.
And so, which is tough for guys, because obviously, I always say the 90 to 150K, that's like the biggest trap, because your bills are paid, you're not stressing about cash, but you're also not balling out.
Yeah.
Right. So was that pretty much it? You were like, man, I really want to leave, but I can't. I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. Is that kind of?
I was comfortable because I had the way I got paid, I had a nice salary and then commission. Right?
Okay, got it.
So, scaling above 200 grand, which is like, again, I was comfortable. I'm like, cool. I know what I'm going to get paid month to month, and then I get my commission quarterly.
Got it.
But after that, man, it was like, okay, travel more, get treated like dirt. I'm just a dollar figure to them.
Yeah. And when he told you, hey, you're easy to replace, and
I was like, okay, well, and I was just like, okay, so I mean nothing to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that kind of like weighed on me a little bit. While again, I'm away from home, missing missing family functions, or I can't do this, and that's when I called you to reach out. But the reason I hesitated to come to you is I was like, well, because I got my life insurance license back in like 2020, towards like the beginning end of the pandemic.
And why was that? I know you've told me before, but I can't recall why.
I got recruited.
Oh, someone was.
So I was in between. I got furloughed at that time. Okay. And I was with another corporate company.
Yep.
In the car business.
Like right when COVID hit.
Yeah, literally, it was like, I was making more money being furloughed, right, during that time of the pandemic. It was insane, man. But I had this gal reach out to me in LinkedIn. She came from a car business that was in life insurance.
Got it. Okay.
Long story short, you know, she did well. She got me.
She was good.
Yeah. I bit the hook,
Mm.
but it was a different business model. It was what the agency was Premier Alliance, or the IMO.
Mm.
They're more MLM more than
Got
anything.
it. So like, hey, recruit everybody.
Recruit
Did
everybody.
They have leads?
No. It was.
So it was like, hey, come in, sell your family and friends, and then recruit them.
So she sold me, and then she recruited me,
Uh-huh.
but I had to pay. It was like $500.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was just like, I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, all right, hey, sell 5 policies,
Yep.
and then we'll bump your comp. And it was like 30-35%. But I was just like, dang, that's not bad, right? Like,
Right, because what they bring you in at? Like 20? It
was like
25?
No, it was 30.
Oh, they brought you in at 30. They
Yeah,
said, hey,
so
we'll
I was
bump
just
you
like
to
30. I'm
35.
like, absolutely. To me, that's like coming from the car side. I'm like, yeah, because like the max I ever got paid was 21%. So I was like, 30%? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I sold my friends and family. I was that guy at the functions, right?
Yeah,
Just
Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah,
whatever,
and then I was
4th
like,
of July.
this isn't me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I left, and I thought, because I didn't renew it my second year,
Mhm.
so I was like, my license is expired. I don't want to like reinstate, retake the exam.
Mm-hmm.
But then I spoke with you. Then one day I was just like, you know what? Let's see if it's still active.
Right. Yeah.
And it was. I'm like, oh, it expires in May of 2025. I'm like, huh.
Let's do it.
And then I came in.
Yeah.
We spoke. I said, yeah, but then I was in the process with Symmetry, trying to jump on board with them. I mean, we spoke about it, and I was like, you know what? Something feels odd. I'm not going to go through it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So obviously, like hindsight, this was a good decision, right? In hindsight. But you were probably one of the most, I guess you can call it skeptic.
Oh, 100%.
And it's probably obviously like sales, insurance, there's already there's truth about everything.
Yeah.
But like there's so many different models within the industry that like life insurance sales in and of itself is a good vehicle, but it really depends on who you work with.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you had a horrible taste in your mouth towards the industry just based on the experience 4 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, prior to that, but then after that too, I joined another agency with FFL out of Florida, but it was like, hey, we'll start you at 110% comp.
Right.
Buy your leads. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. It can kind of trigger that same reaction, like, okay, so you want me to join you guys and then just start spending money? Like what, like how does this all work? And
no script, no training, nothing. So it was like, I backed away, but then when I came in, I was just like hesitant. And I remember Chris was like, cool, we'll go. That's when Jesse had his like banging month, 62. And Jesse just pulled up, showed me his port, and I was just like, 1 month? He's like, yeah, well, from one carrier. And through that day, I asked him, I think like 7 times, just like, that's like real? Like I knew there was money, but it was hard to believe.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think like when people see our posts about how much we're selling, like especially when it's like, hey, Wesley, for example, no sales experience, just first few months comes in, bangs, 50 grand is 3rd or 4th month. You're just like, that can't be real, right? And then you get in and you realize like, okay, well, not everybody does it, right? Not everybody shows up to the trainings. Not everybody just works, like shows up and works. Like that's never been an issue for you. Like you've always just showed up and done the work and then implemented the training really quick. But the there's no like, the catch-22 is you have to work basically in the right model, in the right team,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, because I mean,
I could never, like the first example that you went through where like I could never go sell for a company where they're like, okay, now give us a list of 20 friends and family. We're going to call them all, and then we're going to take the commission, and then you can recruit them. Like, I don't know how people stay in business there.
And you see that more than you think.
It's like, wild. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I used to sell life insurance. It's awful. And it's like, you were not with the right people.
Yeah. Whereas here, so for you, it was kind of a breath of fresh air for us to say, hey, we'll actually just provide the leads up front.
What helped too was knowing Chris.
True.
But I remember when he started, I was like, yeah, good luck, dude. FFL, yeah, I had a bad experience. And I remember he just looked at me, he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, and then here's the drip text from him.
So you watched him, yeah.
Well, he would just send me like randomly, hey,
gotcha.
This is my schedule. We figured out pre-booked appointments. That was like midsummer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, cool, like whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't looking to jump ship, and then all this stuff. Like, it's funny how the universe works.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, yeah, screw it.
Yeah. Well, and I always know like for the really good like A players, because it's really easy to grab someone who's like 20 years old, never made more than 2-3 grand in a month.
Yeah.
Like it's very easy. Their expectations of life, like they have nothing to lose.
No, living at
It's
home.
it's difficult to grab a guy like you who's already making six figures. You're in a good position. You've had success in other industries. It usually takes, because if you think about it, I guess when did Chris start dripping on you? Was it like May of the?
Yeah,
So it took like 4. No, when did you start in November?
November.
Yeah, so it took like 6 months
Mhm.
for you to actually commit, which like, but once you commit, you commit,
Yeah.
right? Which is super common. We've seen that with, guys like Eddie, Johnny even took several months. Chris, he's been thinking about this for years.
Yep.
He first started looking into this, 2020 or 2019, something like that. But it takes a long time. Now, once you did start, what was the hardest, I guess, learning curve to go through? Like, what are some struggles that you experienced the first several months?
First off, believe in the clients, or saying, "Oh, I'll call you back." Right.
So you gave them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Trusting them. Which, now when some of our new guys come up, I just laugh. I'm like,
Yeah.
not against you, man, but no.
You're never going
Right.
to
Yeah, you're not never going.
Yeah.
Just hammering the phones.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you say that was the hardest part?
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
I picked it up quick, right? My first day, I sold one with you.
Right.
Second day, Chris closed one. After that, I was like, okay, dude, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
Read the script.
Yep.
But it was just the dials.
Dude, it was the same for me. I don't talk about it a ton because people don't ask, but like the first month, that I was here, I think I sold like 16 grand, and then the second month, 20. But then I was stuck, and I was buying leads, right? So I was spending 6 to 8 grand on leads. So I really wasn't like super profitable. But like it was just the work, because we're probably similar in the sense where it's like the sales background, you know how to talk to people, you know how to overcome objections. Like you picked up on all that stuff really quick. But we think with our skill, we can like bypass the work, because technically you were, within your first week, you're already better than people that have been there a month that had no sales experience. But then like what I had, the hard pill to swallow for me was about 3 to 4 months in, I listened to John Wetmore talk about it, where he's like, dude, if you audit your schedule and your day, like when you're at the office all day, like what is the actual activity? And you can't just give yourself credit for being at the office all day. You have to actually, how many dials, how many presentations, how many sales, those all count as time, like a timesheet. Then audit yourself. And I think when I did that, I thought I was working 50, 60 hours a week based on the activity. Personally, I was only working I think it was like 14 hours.
Yeah,
I was like, this is it? Like, okay. So then I doubled my activity, and then my results doubled.
Yeah.
So did you experience something similar? Or what do you
Yeah, I
think?
mean, same thing. I'm like, dude, I have the skills. Like, this is easy. And then I wasn't making the dials.
Right.
When Blaze started making $1,000, I'm like, how? To this day, still, like, it
It's a
fathoms me.
lot,
Like,
dude.
I'll hammer the phone, but
Right.
like, I still can't touch. Like me personally, I still can't touch like 400 to 500. Like
Yeah.
some guys, I'm just like, one, I can't sit still either.
Yeah.
It's just like that's how I've always
You're
been.
throwing the ball at the wall.
I have to
I'm
like,
oh, there's Jay.
yeah, like I have to throw the ball. Like I'm on the phone, but like I can't sit still for a long
Right.
period of time.
Yeah.
Which I have a hard time with. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be better, but like the activity, and then I kind of had like I didn't really narrow down like how many hours, but driving home, I'd have the conversation with myself because I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
But I'd like be like,
Yeah.
okay, if I'm hiring, would I fire me or would I, keep myself employed? And there was times where I was like, dude, I would have fired me. Like, at the end of the day, I'd be like, dude, don't come back.
Right. Right. Interesting. So where'd you learn that? Like, where'd you pick up on that?
Just came from the car business. Like my
Okay,
old mentor was just, and also from like my old mentors from like, like my coaches, the thing was, hey, if you show up on time, right? If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, don't show up.
Right.
Then it kind of like came all together in one funnel. It was like, okay, now it resembles with work. It's like, okay, check up from the neck up. Okay, how'd you perform today? Are you, happy of what you did with your dials, presentations, or your activity? And then it was always that question of, okay, would you hire yourself Yes, no,
Yeah.
okay, maybe, okay, but how long would you keep yourself around?
Yeah. So you had, and your drive time is like an hour each way, or hour
Yeah,
and
an
a half.
hour. Yeah, one way. Yeah,
So I mean, yeah,
a lot of windshield
there.
time.
You're sitting there in your thoughts for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure on those bad days, because there was definitely a time where we didn't know if Jay was going to work here anymore, right?
Oh, that was February, so not long ago.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be out of business. It was there's ups and downs, and I think this business it's mental.
What do you think? Just because not like everybody goes through that at some
Oh,
point.
100%.
But you were man enough to come to me and Chris and be like, "Hey, dude, like,
Oh.
I don't know if I can make it. I need to maybe go get another job." What do you think caused that? And then, yeah, I guess what do you think? What do you think it was?
Yeah,
that kind of triggered that?
chasing old deals. I had a lot of chargebacks,
Mhm.
and instead of calling fresh new leads, I'm trying to get a hold of the prime people to like, hey, why, and try and keep it on the books.
Yep.
But then looking at my book, like, well, a lot of these were $60, $50 a month, where it's
Right.
like I kind of strong armed them to do it.
Right.
So then like took a step back and I looked. I'm like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have sold them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's when I like first started and didn't know the red flags.
Yep.
So it caught up to me, and I was just chasing instead
Right.
of just like, hey, like you guys always say, just write more policies to like
Yeah.
even it out.
But it's the whole reason. The whole reason I created the Lead Assist program, because that's not normal. Like most
No.
agencies, you go work with them. They're like, all right, Jay, you're brand new. Go ahead and buy some leads. You got to spend between 500 to 1,000. Buy some leads. Your goal is to sell a couple, reinvest. But usually that first batch, you're brand new to something. You don't sell lights out all the time. Now there's guys that do, but most people, like my experience was not that. Like I bought leads for 2 weeks before I even had one sale, and then I think that one charged back because I wrote a term for twice the rate on accident when I was supposed to write a whole. Like I totally butchered it.
Yeah.
So the whole reason I created Lead Assist, I guess I didn't create it, but implemented, was the pressure of like buying leads. Do you think that affected you? Like when you're in that chasing the chargebacks, trying to keep up, and then you're like, shoot, dude, I got to buy more leads to like keep this going. And now you're like, dude, I can't afford to buy leads right now. I just got all these chargebacks. Did that have an effect on you?
It did. 100%. You know, chargebacks, because it's like, then you get in a slump. Oh, I didn't sell any. I think the longest, I went like 12 days.
12 days without a deal.
Yeah. But then $3-4 grand of chargebacks, and it's just like,
yeah.
But luckily we have multiple carriers, right? We can be like, well,
Sure.
Hey, we'll put that on to the side. All right. But then it ended up being like the top major carriers. I'm like, dude,
you're just drowning.
Yeah. And I was like,
yeah.
Screw it, dude. Like I put my ego to the side a long time ago, and it's like, okay, I need help. Right?
Yep.
And I think that's what I see a lot with some of the newer guys. A lot of people like are scared to like ask for help.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, no, I did it, and it was the best decision I ever did.
Yeah.
And it saved me.
Right. Because we didn't just say, yeah, dude, go find a job. We just, dude, you can go back on Lead Assist. We got leads. Like, and then you've pretty much not only have you just started selling like lights out where you're having like 10, 20, 15K weeks, but now you're also training reps, because you've always been one of our like sharpest reps where you can pick up on concepts, but then what's harder for guys is actually training on those concepts, right? And so now not only are you selling lights out, but you're also training a team. You just, Diego, who's brand new,
Monster.
You got, him up and going. He's at, as of the what's today, Wednesday? So first 2 days of the week,
2 days of this
he's
week.
at 10 Gs.
He's already at 10K.
He's been with us 2 weeks. Like,
I know. Yeah. And
like that's credit to you for, I mean, he's been right by your side this whole time. So it's crazy, because like if you wouldn't have asked for help, and the reason you were so like, obviously the stress of getting married, you're getting married next week.
So so it's like everything's
just piling up on you. And we're like, dude, let's get you some leads. And then did that like stress just like, okay, cool, give me some leads, and
absolutely, because at that point
you could just sell free.
It's straight profit.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Gets you out of that hole, and it's just like, is the payout's not as high? Yeah, but dude,
give me leads.
Give me leads. Like I'm not too worried about.
Right.
Yeah, like chargebacks happen now, but it's like, okay, well, I know again, I have more leads coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm not coming out of pocket.
Right. And it's happened. I don't know the percentage, but there's a handful of people that have gone that same route where they're like, hey, I'm going to go broker. We call it Lead Assist versus broker, right? Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to go broker. And then they start swiping that card to buy leads. Like, oh, this is actually like way more because there's just different types of people,
100%.
right? Where they're like, dude, the pressure of like swiping the card and knowing that now I have money on the line just starts affecting my sales. So it's like, dude, we created the lead assist so that certain individuals where it's a better fit, like Eddie, he does not want the pressure of like buying leads.
Yeah.
And it's like he sells a lot. Same with you. Like we will feed you guys all day long, and it's a good relationship there.
No, absolutely.
So I think that's huge. That's definitely a piece of advice for new agents is like, don't wait till you're like, I'm out. Like I literally maxed out cards, behind on rent. Like I gotta bounce and get a job. Like ask when things start getting a little hard. And you never complained. You were never like, guys, this sucks, da da da. You were just like, dude, I've been trying. Like I'm getting all these chargebacks now, and of course you've always worked hard, so we're always willing to help there.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the issue was I jumped to broker too soon.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was like, I did the math. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do it. But at that point, looking back, it just did not make any sense.
I know. Because I didn't have the lead assist when I started, but I talked to Easton about it all the time, and we both agree. Like if we were on lead assist when we started, we would have probably rode that for the first 6 to 12 months. I know my personality would have like, maybe I wouldn't have actually, because I was like, man, I just want the higher comp. But the best thing I think people can do when you're working hard and you're good is ride it out for 6 to 12 months, stack some cash, go through the inevitable downturns, and then after 6 months to a year, then you can decide, hey, I understand everything that the business throws at me. I understand the script like the back of my hand. I've seen it all. Like, let me start, investing in leads, up my comp, make a little bit more, but be more profitable because I now have the foundation. So,
and some of like the new guys too. I mean, I'm still in the pit, and I hear them like their first week of dialing, like, I'm gonna buy leads. I'm like, pump the brakes, dude.
Yeah.
Like, or they'll ask me, when do you think I should buy leads? I'm like, well, it's your money, whenever, but I recommend don't spend more than $500 if you're on lead assist.
Yeah, just start slinging.
And like then start slinging, but then I like deep dive because I'm a numbers guy, so I'm like, okay, here's why, and I'll draw everything out. They're like, oh, that makes sense. So never mind, I don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Because I went through it. When I went broker, I was buying leads for a week, wouldn't, and then I realized it's like you just have to feed the beast.
Yeah, you can never stop.
Yeah, you can't. And went different vendors and so I tried it all.
Yeah.
It sucks, but now it's like I'm glad I went through it though, because like it's taught me a lot.
Right. You basically were like, now that I think about it, you're like, hey, I'm gonna go broker. I'm gonna jump in the deep end real quick. Like I've been swimming, and you were swimming. Like on lead assist, like you were selling, right? Like when did you hit 20K, which is kind of our like mark for hey, you're good. Was that like your second or third month?
Yeah, my third. Yeah,
I know you were at our first 20K dinner.
Yeah,
is what I remember.
Yeah,
which I think was
December
February?
I hit 18. I barely missed it, and then January I was like at 25.
Yeah. So obviously that gives you confidence. You're like, dude, I got this. And you decided not only to go swim at the deep end, but then also swim with sharks. You're like, I'm going to try like 5 lead vendors this week, see which one I like. Did you change your script? Did you start changing your script at all? Or
changed a little bit of it,
little bit, yeah.
but nothing too crazy. But like it was mainly just like the lead flow with just different vendors. And I'm like, oh yeah, and that ship sank quick.
Quick, yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
I don't regret it though, because again now it's
totally.
It's just my awareness.
Yep.
I'm like, you know what? Cool, the lead system here. I mean, we're blessed having them in house, but also it's like, okay, once you find a good source, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, just keep ripping, dude. Yeah.
And like now I'm looking back, I'm like, why didn't we do vets?
I know. The writing was on the wall. We've seen teams crush it on vets. For
but
last year.
The other day, like one of my downlines, a diabetic lead, right? One of my old ones.
Nice.
And I remember why just no longer we advertise and go towards that market.
You're like, oh,
it's just
no
like,
bank account.
Yeah, no bank account, nothing. And I'm like, they had to think about $30 a month. I was no problem, hung up, and she's like, well, why didn't you do that? I'm like, let me tell you a story.
Yeah, just save the chargeback. Let me tell you a story. That's so good. So what do you think, now that you're training a lot of new agents, what do you think separates the like brand new agent who, like, let's talk about like, Diego. Diego's been with us 2 weeks. He's obviously on this crazy trajectory, like faster than a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Like he's cruising versus, I'm not going to name names, but like an agent who maybe no longer is here, but just can never get it. Like, what do you think is the separator between guys like Diego versus others who fail?
I mean, I think he has the advantage of coming from the car business,
Yeah.
used to the long hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then the ethic, because I mean, the car business, I compare the car business to insurance, like they're very equivalent.
Yeah.
Same objections, same hours, same grind.
Yeah.
More money on this side now.
Yep.
Right. But, and he's just so coachable. Chris and I sat down with him. We're like, hey, dude, here's this like script. You just read it and it'll make you a lot of money. And then just sit with one of us, shadow some guys.
He's literally sat next to you every day.
Yeah. Like he sat next to me since he started.
Which is gold.
And he'll listen to my calls. And then I remember last week when you guys were gone to Ignite, he was on a call and I was just like, nope, dude, close it. It was not
It was
the greatest.
but he
Closed it. Like he just went he kind of went old school, like car sales, like closing. He's like, why not? Why don't you want it? What's there to think about?
Really?
Like hammered the
Hard
dude. And the
closing.
guy was like, yeah, you're right. I do need it. He was like, cool.
That's awesome.
So like he was very direct, but gave him feedback and then clearly like implemented it. And
Right.
now this week he's crushing.
Yeah.
So he's just coachable.
Coachable. And I would, to some, because that was a lot, but I would say just really plugged in.
Yeah, 100%.
Like he's been at your,
I mean, he comes in, attached to the hip, and he just sits, dials, gets up, and goes home.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Then compared to like the guys that are been here for a few months or no longer, they don't ask for help.
Yeah.
That's
Or
the
they
major
just spend
thing.
all day socializing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely some advice for any new agent that's watching this is like, be the agent that does he bug you with questions? Like, is he the why question guy, or he just asks, you tell him, and then he implements?
He's not much of a why. He listens, he observes.
He gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too was last week in our training we did mortgage, and I had everything written on the wall. I remember I heard him pitching everything, and I was like, "Oh, that's mortgage." He just gets up, gets a chair, and sits in front of the whiteboard, and he's like literally reading word for
Just
word.
like,
And I'm just like, "Oh, sweet!" Like,
that's sick.
then
Yeah.
he closes it. He's like, "Dude, I read everything."
Oh, on the sale.
Yeah, on the cell.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So
No, he's
the
on the
training,
phone. Yeah.
on the phone with someone, goes over there, sits in front of it, and just says it. And
Yeah,
then
it
closes
says it, and
That's
he's like, "Dude,
crazy.
I read it, just like how you said it. I read it on the script."
That is so good.
And he closed it, and I was just like, "Really?" I was like, "You're on the phone?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Sweet, dude."
Dude, that is good. Yeah. So I cannot say that enough. Like, new agents who fail, they fail because they're not plugged in and they're not actually implementing the training. Like, Diego's taking it seriously. And again, it comes back to what we talked about earlier. Like, Diego's an A player. He was making six figures in the car business. Like, he was making really good
Yeah,
money.
he's gonna- yeah.
And so when he decided to do this, it's like, dude, I can't mess around. Like, I got to take this seriously. And plugging into a guy like you who already has gone through you're on the trail, you're ahead. You're like, dude, come on, follow
I'll
me.
tell you
Don't do
not
that.
yeah.
Don't jump into that water over there. Just keep walking, like keep doing it. So no, that's huge. So for new agents, definitely get plugged in.
Schedule.
And then is there any other schedule? Yeah, so schedule and get plugged in, those non-negotiables. Is there any other like maybe script things that maybe you had a hard time with closing or the intro? Like maybe if there's something that you struggled with early part of the script, what can you kind of shed some light on to make sure that new agents can fast track that part?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I was kind of on top of it. I'm like, I'm coming into a business I don't know anything about. I've always believed in scripts. So like when you guys gave me that piece of paper, I was like, okay, right. I did the Johnny method, but as my screensaver, each time I wanted to go into my phone, I had to read the script until like to access my phone.
Right.
Right. Had it memorized, reading it to myself in the mirror, where I'm like, okay, I got it memorized. Now I can kind of mess with it. To be honest, I never really had like a hard time with any of it because it's like, okay, if I didn't know an objection, I'd come to you guys. But then going back when I started, I asked you and Chris, hey, when you guys walk past me, throw me random objections, keep me on my toes. So that helped me a lot. But I think the number one thing is just memorize the script.
Yep.
Like I preach it, I can't preach it enough.
Yep.
And then after that, then you can kind of customize it and tailor it to your personality.
So memorize it. So plug in, work the hours, memorize it.
Memorize the
If a
script.
new agent can do all those 3 things, then
And I think now, especially if I had the 7-page script that we just came out with back then,
yeah.
oh,
I know. I feel like an idiot for not
but I think
putting that out.
Yeah, but now it's like now we do. It's literally like when we post the plug-in play system, like it's
literally
in like perfect example. I'll keep using Diego. He is like a great example to use that,
right.
and also Hollywood
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
came from the acting industry,
Right.
Never
Yeah.
sold anything.
Give him a script.
Well, I guess he came from phone sales.
T-Mobile.
But
Yeah. Yep.
either way, like he's already closed like 2 or 3 deals by himself.
Just
and
read.
by reading the script.
So good.
So
Good, dude.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, as we wrap this one up, is there any other things that, maybe advice or things like if someone, let's do this. If someone is kind of on the fence like you were,
Yeah.
in the car business or any other industry, they're making 6 figures, good money, they're comfortable, but it's not quite enough. Like, what's your advice for them?
I mean, yeah. Well, you guys will hear about the amount of money you can make. I'll be the first one to tell you it sucks. It's stressful. I mean, it's easy, but it's hard.
Right.
Right.
Wait, what sucks? The money here or the money in the car business?
It's what sucks here is the amount of dials you have to like
the work.
sit right, like
Got
the
it.
work,
So
like
the money
the
is
grind
real.
is the grind.
The grind, yes.
Because there's days again you'll go 10+ days you won't talk to a single person,
Yeah.
you won't sell anything,
Yeah.
and it's all about like your mental strength.
Right. Yep.
Right. So like be ready to get your teeth absolutely kicked.
Yep.
But once you like get over that hill, it's again, it's snowball effect. It rolls into like, okay, this is pretty freaking easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I don't know. I guess what was your question again? 'Cause I went off track.
I think you got it. Basically, it's worth it. Like
It's worth
if
it.
you're
just
on the fence,
okay,
it's worth it.
Now I remember. So you got to just trust the leadership team
Yep.
and like our process and like the plans that we like practically like implement for you.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's because everything's slowly like falling into place for like a lot of the agents here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones that do like just show up on time, go to 8 a.m. meetings, right? The trainings, the 1 p.m.s, and then ask a bunch of questions. Don't sit in the corner,
Yeah.
thinking you can do it because that's
Right.
where you will fail.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but it's worth it. Just get ready to get your teeth kicked in a little bit.
Yeah.
Listen to our coaching. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you got some value. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are actively hiring for sales agents. We have way too many warm leads. And so we need help calling the leads and selling policies. It's something you can do in office in Denver or virtually just from home. So our average agents, they make just a little over $11,000 a month in commissions. Our top reps, they make between 50 to 70 grand a month. And our top managers who run sales teams, they make 6 figures a month. So if you feel like you're a good fit, meaning no ego, very coachable, willing to work hard, 10, 12, 14-hour days, reach out to us. You can either click the link somewhere in the description or just reach out to me directly at my Instagram, Ty Jeffrey Cook.